Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What's going on, everybody? It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for your favorite podcast, the SHW podcast. This is our wrestling. I'm B-Double Brandon Benefield alongside the great GB Gerard Bonner and the beautiful Diana Michelle. We finally have the band back together, and it feels so good. What's up, guys?
Oh, yes.
What's up? What's up? What's up? I love this picture. I love this whole trio thing we got going on here. I miss it when we don't have it.
Yeah.
But, it's so good. It's so good. Hey, guys.
Hey. It feels good to be back with the home team. I hope everybody is good. I hope you're enjoying your summer. We're officially in August, and of course, that means RumbleJack is upon us. And so,
Finally.
Y'all know what's about to go down. It's about to get crazy. But I'm glad to be here. It's good to be with you guys. We're going to have some fun.
Absolutely. We missed you last week, GB. We had a great conversation with the Killbilly. Nathan Mowry was on with us. So you can only imagine how wild that was with all his stories. But
especially now, you know, all the stories he's accumulated since he's last joined us. So
yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think he said he was like in the 60s, getting to the 70s of matches that he's had so far.
Oh gosh. And those aren't like normal matches.
No, these are like crazy.
Jeez. Yeah,
we talked about some of that crazy, and it was cringy, but you couldn't stop listening. He was like, give me more.
It's that train wreck. I love it.
It is. It's like you're driving along, and then what causes the traffic, you can't help but look. Right. Nathan's telling these crazy deathmatch stories. It's like, I'm cringing. I'm going, but I'm kind of like, all right, a little more. Tell me a little more.
Right.
I want to get so close to the guts, but I don't want to see them.
Right. So,
tell me when to look away. Tell me when to look away.
Right. Like,
so while it's exciting to finally have us all back here together on the podcast, I'm even more excited because, as you alluded to, GB, it is RumbleJack season. We are finally just 1 week away from seeing each other in person next Friday, August 9th at the Action Building. It's going to be awesome. The 6th annual RumbleJack. It's the biggest one ever. Jake the Snake this year decided to up the ante and make it a 40 competitor RumbleJack, the biggest one of all time. It's going to be nuts. So be there, as GB likes to say, get your face in the place and experience history. Let's make history together with the biggest RumbleJack match ever. Oh man, I can't wait. But we've been talking about it for weeks now, and again, we've said it before. I'm going to say it again. I don't like taking a month off. We skipped the month of July, and it's been the longest 2 months ever, seemingly.
Really?
So I can't wait to see you guys in person. We've all three kind of seen each other separately in different things throughout the last 2 months, but to finally have the whole band back together at our home turf, Southern Honor Wrestling, 261 Marietta Road, Canton, Georgia, at the Action Building. Fans, get there. Get there early, by the way, because we just found out that there's going to be a pre-show match starting at 7:30. So normally the show starts at 8, and the main show will start at 8. But this month at the RumbleJack, a pre-show match, which is a RumbleJack qualifier. And let's go ahead and talk about it, because we're going to talk about what we know is on the card. And there's only a few matches plus the huge RumbleJack, with about half of the competitors have been announced. So we'll talk about all that. But let's go ahead and talk about this pre-show match. It's a couple of Nightmare Factory guys. Rosario Grillo, we haven't seen him in a while. He's one half of the tag team TSF. They actually were in SHW for a cup of coffee against the Infantry.
Yeah, in a pre-show match.
Yeah, it was a pre-show match. And when was
Still here 3.
So
Still here 3.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
I remember that. We were on the stage.
Yeah.
We were. Cup of coffee.
He did. We were on the stage for that one.
Why? Why are you making that?
That was a War Chamber situation that had.
That's a saying.
Matter of fact, that was the night that Gunnar Miller had that crazy retirement match against
Corey
Hollis.
Corey Hollis, yes,
That's
and
right.
that kicked off the show after that. So it was the Infantry and TSF. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yep. What have you not
Was
heard
that the first
saying
time we
before,
saw
Diana?
the Infantry? What? I'm sorry, what?
I said, have you not heard that saying before?
I have, but not when you talk about somebody just kind of hanging out for a bit. I'm like, oh yeah, they just came by. I've never heard anybody but that's fun. I like it.
Oh, okay. I thought I was
He's
crazy.
coming by for a cup of coffee, then he's got to go. That kind of thing, That's how we're done.
Anyways. Well, point is, Grillo's back. He's got
back.
a chance This is a
Yeah.
RumbleJack qualifier match, so it's
Yeah.
kind of a almost like a last chance qualifier here because it's the night of the show, and he's taking on JD Inc. So Grillo is actually part of the first class of the Nightmare Factory, and GB, you and I have had the pleasure of calling plenty of his matches, single and tag team with TSF along with Hunter Knott, and I'm excited to see this one. Now, JD Inc. is in the current Nightmare Factory camp. And Diana, you and I have seen him a couple times at some TCW shows over the last few months.
Right.
And, but I think he's had some previous training elsewhere at some other schools throughout the country. And both these guys, all the making in the world, all the pedigree to be big names in this industry. So for both of them to get a shot here to impress the SHW crowd like this, that could be something special. And could you imagine if one of them will go on certainly to enter the match, but could you imagine if one of them go on and win the whole thing? And I mean, it's the biggest match on SHW's calendar, but because of that, it's the biggest match in the Southeast.
Yeah.
So could you imagine going on and winning the thing and getting a championship opportunity? Now, we also heard a video from Gary Lamb earlier this week promoting the event, and he did specify, because GB, you and I questioned this. We heard Todd Sexton make reference to it at the last show that his guys, the end game, will go after any title they want. And at the time, we were like, no, wait a second. I thought it was for the Southern Honor Championship. But Gary Lamb has confirmed it. Whoever wins the RumbleJack can go after any title in SHW that they choose. And I assume that also includes the tag titles. So I guess whoever wins it can pick a partner and go after the tag titles if they so choose.
Makes sense. I mean, and honestly, it should be that way. I mean, you win the Royal Rumble, you get to choose which champion you want to go after, right? And we didn't always have a Jake the Snake Legacy title. We didn't always have the tag team title. So I mean, why not? Why not open it up? Choose which one you want.
Yeah, I love it.
Awesome.
Mix it up, shuffle it up, shake it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it just adds to the prestige of what's going to happen here. It is legitimately the biggest RumbleJack match in the history of this company. Not just is it because you have 40 entrants, but now there's more on the line. And think about how much sense that makes. You know, you could go after the SHW championship, whatever that looks like after the RumbleJack, or it might be in your best interest to go after the JTS Legacy Championship. Or you might be able to grab a tag partner and go after the tag titles. Like, you really get an opportunity to pick your spot. And because the whole idea is you don't want to waste that opportunity. You don't want to waste kind of cashing that in. So I think this is a great opportunity, which makes that pre-show match even bigger. You could argue it's one of the biggest matches in the career of both Rosario Grillo and JD Inc. Because think about it, for Grillo, who has been doing things since Camp 1, which we remember, you know, he's had a chance to do some things in various and sundry places. But I think certainly if you're in Georgia or anywhere in the Southeast, you understand the one place you want to apply your craft is Southern Honor Wrestling. And so to get the opportunity to apply your craft on that stage and in one fell swoop, in one night, enter the RumbleJack, potentially win and call your shot, that's massive. Even bigger for JD Inc., who is currently in training at the Nightmare Factory. And, you know, we've been there. So for folks who don't know, you know, you can be a part of the Nightmare Factory if you're brand new and you've never wrestled before, or if you've had previous training and you really want to take advantage of the expertise that's there. So the fact that he's getting experience at, you know, TCW and a few other places, it's a big opportunity for him as well.
Yeah.
And I will go ahead and say, and won't jump too far ahead, but when it comes to the RumbleJack, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Right? So, you know, your endurance could be, you know, you might prepare and train if you're number one, but we already know who number 1 and 2 are. So for everybody who isn't part of Exotic Youth, you're not going to get 1 and 2. So the possibility that you could win this match and luck up and get a late number and win the whole thing, it's all very, very possible. So for these two gentlemen, you could say it's the biggest night of their life so far. How will they handle it? How will the pressure, and I guess that's the real question, understanding the gravity of the situation and what it could mean, will the pressure become too much for them? We're going to figure all that out a week from tonight.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. Yeah, these guys have had experience other places. Grillo, like we mentioned, has wrestled in front of an SHW crowd back at Still Here in one of the pre-shows. But it's that SHW fan base, the SHW
Yeah.
faithful. It's a whole different animal wrestling in front of them, and they're hard to impress sometimes. You know, unless you're like kind of somebody like a Cody Fluffman who comes in and just wins over the crowd
Right.
just like that. That doesn't always happen. So if you're coming in brand new, in this case for JD Inc., you know, he's got an uphill battle for sure. And, but it's, you know, like I said, we've seen him in action over the last few months. We've seen Grillo over the last few years. And I think both guys have what it takes. I just hope they can step up on August 9th, next Friday. And we'll see who ends up in the RumbleJack and who could potentially go on and win the whole thing. But man, what an opportunity that is for those two guys. And I can't wait. So a quick reminder, once again, like I said, it's starting early. 7:30 is the pre-show match. So I know normally doors open at 7, and they still do open at 7, and then the main bell time's at 8, which is still the case. But you're going to want to arrive early because you don't want to miss this pre-show matchup, which is a RumbleJack qualifier. So get there early, folks, which kind of means actually, since I'm talking to you guys, I guess we'll have to figure out what we do with our pre-show when we're live on Facebook. And next week, we'll have to probably wrap up a few minutes early to prepare and get ready for the 7:30 matchup.
Absolutely.
We'll figure all that out when it gets here. But we will still be live, so join us live on Facebook next Friday night before the show. But we might just have to cut it a little short to get ready to call the action. But we talked about going after any title in the company if you win the RumbleJack. Well, 2 of those titles are on the line at this event next week. One of those being the Jake the Snake Legacy Championship. Our matchmaker, Jake the Snake, knowing that this was going to be our biggest show of the year, or at least one of the biggest shows of the year, he said, you know what? There already is an SHW title on the line. Let's put the JTS title on the line as well. And so he has informed the champion, Hunter James, that he will be defending that title against Kyle Matthews. Now, if you remember, Fatal 4-Way match at the last show for the JTS Legacy title, where could have been anybody's match. There were some times where it looked like the Ugly Duckling was going to put it away and win the title. There were times where Kyle Matthews looked like he had it in the bag, and he almost had it right there at the end, and then in swooped Hunter James to retain his title. But Jake the Snake going to give Kyle Matthews another shot. So now it's going to be a one-on-one opportunity. Kyle Matthews for a shot at Hunter James, the JTS Legacy Championship. This one has all the makings to be a classic. What do we think?
Thank Jay.
You know, you're right. I think this has all of the makings to be a classic. You know, Hollywood Hunter James really proved a lot to us at the last show. He proved, as I mentioned earlier, you know, this whole idea of being lucky and good. And when you're in a multi-man match, sometimes the best thing to do is let somebody else do the work and you come on in and take advantage of it. And that's what he did. But now a one-on-one situation with one of the greatest wrestlers to ever lace a pair of boots, that being Kyle Matthews, this is going to be special. And Matthews has been ever so close multiple times to becoming the Jake the Snake Legacy Champion, whether it was the first title defense against Chip Day or a previous opportunity against Hunter James. He's always been close. So the question is, will next Friday night be the night where he can finally become the champion? And then we understand that both he and Hunter James are also entrants into the RumbleJack. So it could be a very big night for him, you know, where he could turn around, win a championship, and then become the #1 contender to cash in for another championship opportunity. We could be calling him 2 Belts Kyle before it's all over. So, yeah, I think this is going to be great. I think Hunter James is really going to have to do his work. He wants to be known as a legend. Well, the only way to be a legend is to defeat legends. So he's going to have to find a way to get past Kyle Matthews. And I'm not sure if next Friday night's going to be the night. I think Kyle Matthews is laser focused on getting some gold, and it could happen next Friday.
Absolutely.
It very well could. Yeah, and like you mentioned, GB, they are both working double duty. We found out early on that both of those guys are in the RumbleJack match itself. And
Mm-hmm.
on the flip side, you said it could be two-belt Kyle. It could be Hollywood two belts, because if James goes on to
True.
retain, he could also go on and win the RumbleJack and vie for another championship as well. It's still here
Mm-hmm.
six.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But Diana, your thoughts on this match? I know how you feel about Hunter James, but I'm curious. Let the people know.
Well, I will say one nice thing. He did come away from that fatal four-way with the win without the help of Tristan Michaels.
True.
He was not in the house that night, so he did not have any outside help. He pulled it off. And I mean, there's not a whole lot of negativity you can say about that. So I won't. But I will say, it would be so nice to have the other half of Technical Excellence wear the title of Jake the Snake Legacy title.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It would be beautiful.
Wouldn't that be something? Storybook
be-
right there.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be cool. And
I like
yeah,
it.
anything
I
can
like it.
happen, and we'll see. And like we said, either one of these guys could go on and end up having two belts. We don't know. But
Mhm.
there's only one way to find out. Come join us next Friday for the RumbleJack.
Next Friday.
But speaking of the title matches, like I mentioned, there are two that will be on the line. The other big match, aside from the
Come on with
RumbleJack
it.
match itself, will be a last man standing match. Now, GB, you did a great job in a video that we posted, I think last week, earlier this week or last week, perhaps,
Mhm. Mhm.
discussing, kind of breaking down this match. But we'll do
Yeah.
it again right here on the podcast. This feud that goes back over a year at this point.
Mhm.
Judias defending the title against Gunnar Miller, last man standing. This over a year-long feud finally coming to a head. What in the world is going to happen? I mean, we always say that when you're in a match with anybody in the end game, there's always all that outside interference. There's just no way
Mhm.
around it. In
Mhm.
this case, it's last man standing. So Gunnar knows what to expect. There's no disqualification. Anything goes. Who knows? Maybe if he brought the Hennessy and the cupcakes to the hierarchy, maybe
I'm telling
maybe they
you,
get
that
his
is the
back.
game plan. I'm telling you.
But
The
GB,
smart game can.
GB,
Yeah.
break it down for us real quick. Let us know about this matchup.
For sure. Now, I want you guys to fully check out the video. So I'm going to give you a cliff notes of the cliff notes, right?
There you go.
Simply put, we've got a situation where Gunnar Miller has been without the SHW championship for over 400 days because when he was champion, there was some chicanery involving him and Judias. And we can simply go back to the last time we were all together when we thought Gunnar Miller would finally get his opportunity against Judias, and it just got crazy from the start. It became a no contest, and so nothing was settled. So now we finally get something to be settled between these two, but the stakes are high. I feel like De La Soul, the stakes are high. They're really, really high here because this is a situation where you know that when it comes to these kinds of specialty matches, Judias takes full advantage of those rules. I think back to, I believe it was Still Here 4. The last Still Here, was it 4? That was 5. Was it 5? What's the last one?
Well,
Was
we're
it
coming
5?
up to 6. Yeah, so 5
So
was
yeah,
last
I guess it would be 5. When it looked like David Ali might have had the number of Judias, had an entire casket match. And again, it proved to be that there would be the end game involved, being a part of that match. Judias knows how to take advantage of this. So if Gunnar Miller is going to walk out as champion, he's gonna need some friends. He's gonna need some bodies. If he takes his energy to try to wipe out the end game, then Judias will be waiting for him somewhere with some diabolical plot to retain the championship. So yeah, there's going to have to be some real strategy from Gunnar. Understanding now that referees being knocked out won't stop this match. Understanding that outside interference won't stop this match. Can Gunnar Miller figure out strategically what to do to stop Judias and the end game? Because ultimately you could argue it's almost a handicap match if he doesn't have some friends nearby.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I know I fuss about a lot of outside interference all the time, but when it's all said and done, guys, it's professional wrestling. You're going to have it. It's going to happen. I just would like to see it happen for the good guy. I mean, there's got to be some way you can kind of do that. He needs a team. And the Hennessy and cupcakes is probably going to be the way to go. I promise you. I mean,
it's just
I
an
don't
idea.
see him losing that way. He can have all kinds of people on his side for that. Not that they wouldn't be on his side either way, but still, this is going to be it's going to be a hard match. And I know he had a lot to say to Chip for, kind of messing that up, which I don't think he messed it up. Chip had his own agenda, and it just happened to be during Gunner's match. But
yeah,
he's going to have to be focused. And we've talked about Gunner's focus.
Chip gave a brain buster to like a 280-pound man.
He did.
Whoa.
He did that.
Yeah.
And he did it well. And I'd love to see it again, but I'd like to see Chip give anybody a brain buster. I mean, honestly. Bad boy. Chip did.
The bad boy buster. Is that what we need to name it now?
No.
No, I don't know.
I'm going to get permission before we go that route. Let me hold on.
Okay.
That's not good.
I don't want to do that.
Not good? Okay.
But I mean, we have talked about Gunner's focus in the past and how he's seemed to regain it and everything, but I'm talking about he's got to be zoned in, but be watching.
Yeah.
You got to hit on the swivel at the same time, but I honestly think he can pull this off. I really do.
Yeah.
It almost feels like he needs to, though, because I don't know how many opportunities he may get after this.
Right.
I was wondering that too. Like, where does he go from here if it doesn't pan out?
Right.
What happens next?
Right.
So,
right.
I don't know. Stranger things have happened, though. Like, say, for instance, if it doesn't work out, he was never announced as an entrant into the RumbleJack. He very well could show up later in the RumbleJack and get another shot. Like, I don't know.
What kind of condition will he be in?
Imagine that not being
from
the
a
last man standing.
From a last man standing match?
Yeah.
That would be.
That means you're down for the count because you can't stand up and you're going to jump in a RumbleJack?
I don't know. I'm just saying stranger things. It's pro. You said it. It's pro wrestling.
No, I get it.
Stranger things have happened. So I don't know.
And if that ends up being his only other opportunity to become champion, he's a guy who's won the RumbleJack from the number one position. So he's not going to be number one if he gets into this. So there's a possibility. So yeah. But I would think that he would want to, it's almost like, do you get the direct flight or do you get the layovers? Right. In this case, the direct flight is the championship match that he has. If he loses that, the layovers, it's going to be much longer and it could be more arduous. So I need him to get it done.
And you might have to take some connectors to get there.
This is what I'm saying.
And I think he might argue with you that he spent the last year taking layover flights.
I agree.
And that's a fair statement.
So finally, here we are. Let's get it done.
It's been delayed a time or two. So
yeah, GB, it seems like you might be familiar with something like that.
I resemble that remark. Yes. So I definitely think he's going to want to go ahead and get it. Let me ask you guys this. Does it benefit Gunnar Miller? Because you remember in the last match, he started off and speared him super quickly, but a referee got in the way.
Yeah.
Does it pay off for Gunnar Miller to try to end this thing early or to try to test the endurance of Judas?
I think it would pay off to come to the ring with some brass knucks and just knock him out. That's going to be the quickest way to be the last man standing, I think.
Well, here's the thing. Had the ref not gotten laid out early in the match last time, had we had a conscious ref that could have made the count, Gunnar won the match. Gunnar had it won a couple different times early on. There was just no referee. So if there's a conscious referee and he does the same thing this time that he did last time, go ahead and try and knock him out early. But again, you got to think about the end game being down there and the numbers game. Do one of them take out the referee? There's no telling, especially in this no DQ environment. I mean, there's just no telling. So
I feel like we're going to have more than 2 or 3 refs in the house for this night. Though.
I hope so.
I just feel that way because we have such a big RumbleJack. We got to have refs to kind of keep their eyes on everything. So I kind of thought there might be more.
And look, I know I already
called Needham is ridiculous.
But. I know I already called Prater out on commentary, and I don't want to give him any more grief than I already did. But as long as he doesn't come down there and then step right in front of a Stinger splash for no reason, and then he gets knocked out, I'm like, what are you thinking? Get out of the way. So
Who knows?
Move!
Who
Get out the way.
knows?
all I'm telling you folks is that you are not going to want to. Here's the thing. This is on top of a 40-man, 40 competitor RumbleJack, which is the biggest RumbleJack match ever.
Ever.
This is on top of that we have this
Yeah.
massive last man standing match for the Southern Honor Championship.
Mhm.
Huge. It's like a massive pay-per-view match on top of another massive pay-per-view. Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy, folks. So
Yeah.
you're just not going to want to miss it. The whole show is going to be nuts. I mean, we already talked about the
Mhm.
Jake the Snake Legacy Championship match. That's going to be a classic.
Yeah.
You got a lot riding on that pre-show match, and that's going to be awesome. So you're not going to want to miss it. But let's talk about this 40-person RumbleJack match. Now, I'll do the exact count, or I did do the exact count. I want to say we're probably around like 18 or so that have been officially announced somewhere in there. And so that's about half. So that
Mhm.
means we've got a lot of unknowns, folks. A lot of
Mhm.
unknowns. And if you
Mhm.
are familiar at all with the RumbleJack over the last 5 years coming into the 6th annual, then you know. Always surprises, always the unexpected. Our
Mhm.
most unpredictable night on our calendar. So
Mhm.
just you're not going to want to miss it. But let's kind of run through who has been announced thus far and just kind of what we think. Just to get it out of the way, I just want to rip the Band-Aid off because I'm going to throw up in my mouth probably talking about this. But just to get it out of the way, the first two that we even heard that were announced, let's
Mhm.
rewind it a little bit. From the Exotic Pukes, Zach Mosley sent in a video demanding that they get an entrance into the RumbleJack. Gary Lamb comes out, and he even asked you and I, Gerard, sitting at commentary, what we thought he should do. I was very adamant, saying no, I don't want them here. I don't think anybody wants them here.
Mhm.
But he said to you, he's like, well, let's give him a second chance. We believe in second chances, blah, 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 blah. But here was the stipulation. He's going to put Mosley in at number 1, going to put Pepperbottom in at number 2,
Mhm.
and they must fight each other or else they're out of SHW for good. I'll be honest with you. I kind of hope they just refuse to fight each other so we can just kick them out of the company for good. But if they have to fight each other, I mean, that's a nice stipulation to put on it. Like, I'd like to see them have to fight each other.
Mhm.
But, in that video that Gary put out earlier this week, not that I forgot about it because it's kind of hard to forget getting hit by a car, but he referenced getting hit by the car back in January, which took me away from the February show,
Yeah.
which is like first show I've missed in 6 years.
Mhm.
And so I'm still a little bitter about it, if I'm being honest. And it's been nice not seeing those idiots in the action building the last couple of shows. So
Mhm.
I'm not feeling too good about them being in the building. But since they're going to be there and they're number 1 and number 2, hopefully they just beat the hell out of each other. There, I just said it. And we'll see what happens. But hopefully they do that, and then 38 more come in there and then continue to beat on them. That'll make me smile a little bit. I won't lie.
I don't want them to last the whole 38.
That's true. I don't want them being there the whole time, except for the selfish reason that I want 38 other people to lay boots to them. Maybe they
Kinda
can
like,
get eliminated early, but then still hang out like Lev at ringside.
like Lev, yeah, I was gonna
Last
say.
year.
Right. Listen,
And
all right.
everybody can lay it into them on their way to the ring. I wouldn't
That's
be.
kind of, I like that.
I wouldn't mind that. But I mean, your thoughts. I mean, I know we all kind of. GB, I know you try to maintain, try to be unbiased here. Diana,
Do
I
my
know what you
best.
think, but I mean, Exotic Youth in the RumbleJack at 1 and 2. How are we feeling?
Well, being there are 1 and 2, which means I'll be in the ring to announce 1 and 2,
Oh boy.
being there together with them idiots. But it's almost, I mean, I really hate Bryce can't be in this. I really hate he can't be a part of this. Just because the whole they got to fight thing, and we could have made some kind of weird exception where they all 3 had to get in there and be in there for 5 minutes or maybe and just beat each other up, because that would have been fun. I don't know what I would have done. But anyway, I'm just playing in my head right now. But yeah, I don't see them hurting each other. I see them maybe play fighting, maybe kind of whatever. And if that is to happen, I hope Gary stops the whole thing and just like, look, I said fight, not play fight. I need to see some blows or something, to kind of, make them fight.
Like I said, I feel like something like that might happen, in which case this would be kind of an unheard of situation where Gary comes out and stops the match and goes, all right, you two are out of here for good.
Right.
And then we just pick up at number 3 and continue.
Don't go through the motions. I need you to actually fight. But I mean, we know these guys train together. So, I mean, wrestling each other is what they do. I mean, it's training pretty much, but I need to see some aggression. Where is it going to come from? I just want to see that. But my most is I just want to see who's coming after so that somebody's going to be in there maybe because they can eliminate. Well, can they eliminate each other? I don't know. Maybe they could.
They could.
They could. I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah,
well,
I'm excited.
They could. And let me go back real quick, GB, while you're thinking real quick. So just to kind of touch on the rules, it will be random intervals. Okay. So it's not like every 2 minutes or every minute and a half. It could be, but it could be random throughout the show, throughout the 40 entrants.
Right.
And it's over the top rope elimination, both feet hitting the floor. When we get down to the final 2, and again, if you keep up with SHW, you know this deal. But for any new people watching, when we get down to the final 2, all the previous eliminations come back to the ring, surround the ring as lumberjacks, and the final 2 competitors have a lumberjack match where the only way to win is pinfall or submission. So there you go. GB, your thoughts?
There are a couple of things that perhaps we should be concerned about, particularly you two. And that is, with this announcement that Gary Lamb has made, the one thing we did not consider is perhaps the real motivator for them is to get another opportunity to become tag team champions. If they find a way to last, they can become #1 contenders to the tag titles. We've seen what they're willing to do. They're willing to get under masks. They're willing to do almost anything to become tag team champions. I don't want to give them ideas, but I just think that they are the kinds of guys who will figure out what the rules are and figure out how to massage them in such a way where they are battling each other, but they don't do bodily harm to each other. And somehow, because here's the thing, no matter what they do to each other, I'm nervous for whoever's number 3. Because whoever's number 3, they're going to immediately stop fighting each other and turn to number 3. And they could literally work this thing where they're in the ring by themselves the entire RumbleJack because they've eliminated everybody as they come through because they'll have the 2-man advantage. So this really could, I don't want to be that guy, but this could really work against.
I mean, it's an option. It's a scenario.
Here's the thing that we need to be concerned about. If you are not fans of Exotic Youth, you have to understand that they are brilliant, and they'll probably clip this and use it. But they are brilliant. They have figured out how to outsmart companies all over the world and SHW. Think about this. It was a while where they were outsiders to SHW, and they would, buy billboards to say things about Gary Lamb and Southern Honor. They do all of these things to work their way into the company. And when they figured out their way in, they weren't even welcome in the locker room, but they found a way to be champions and left with the titles. So I think for you guys, for Gary, for everybody who's concerned about what Exotic Youth can do, you might make the argument that putting them in the RumbleJack may have put their backs against the wall and may have made them go into their think tank far deeper than we ever wanted them to go. The results could be that the 2 guys that start this thing could be the 2 guys that are ending this thing.
And if you think about it, remember last year, those 2 punks got thrown through the ropes earlier in the match.
And Bryce was like one of the last 2.
Well, yeah, and then Pepperbottom and Mosley came back into the match at the end to help Rice, although unsuccessfully. But we had almost completely forgotten that they had gone through the ropes, not over the ropes, earlier in the match.
Absolutely.
So yeah, there's no telling with these guys. They're not as dumb as they look, and believe me, I think they look very dumb.
Boy.
But you're
Oh,
right,
boy.
GB. They are not as dumb as they look, unfortunately. And who knows? You know what? Now you got me concerned. I've been going into this, can't wait for the 40-person RumbleJack. This is gonna be great. And now I'm thinking like, oh, now this could be a very, very
Well,
long night. If
they're
that
never
happens.
not prepared. I've never seen them attack anything not prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, anything can happen, but I'm a praying woman. And I like
Pray
to think
now.
God's on my side.
I'm praying to the
He
wrestling
hears
gods.
my fervent prayer that will not happen. He's going to
Listen.
send the giants
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
eliminate.
And you're right, GB. When there's two of them, you're right. They can watch each other's backs and stuff. But
Yeah.
I just hope at some point the numbers game just becomes too much. We know there's going to be some big dogs in this matchup. And I just hope at some point it just all gets too overwhelming. And yes, I want them to get eliminated, but I also want some people to just beat the crap out of them. And then eliminate them.
Let's not forget, they do have enemies at Southern Honor.
They do.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
just Gary, not just Brandon.
They
and I.
do.
They do have enemies at Southern Honor.
I think there's only like 2 people I think I know that love exotic youth, and it's those 2 guys that bring the signs in the crowd.
Mm.
They have exotic youth, like they're always rooting for exotic youth.
The ones that want to be exotic youth when they grow up.
Yeah, those 2. Or there's 2, maybe there's 3. I don't know, but I don't know what's wrong with those guys.
I think they're kin. I think they're family.
Thanks for coming to the shows. We appreciate the support.
Right.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Love it. Yeah.
Keep coming. Please keep coming.
And look,
Yes.
cheer for whoever you want, boo for whoever you want. But it's beyond me why anybody would cheer for those punks.
Wrestling.
And that's the thing. It's wrestling. It should be wrestling. It should all happen in the ring. When you go outside in a parking lot and run somebody down with a car, it becomes more than just wrestling.
Yeah.
I want these guys to be beaten badly. That's all I'm saying. I don't know who it's going to be, but somebody, please, just beat.
I have an idea, Brandon.
For that.
I have an idea. Brandon, you know how I think the last couple of years there have been, Immortal Tattoos who kind of sponsors a pick and they always have I think you need to sponsor a pick or have some sort of secret pick somewhere that's going to be your insurance to assure you that they get eliminated. That's just my thought.
I might have to talk to Mike from Immortal Tattoos for some money because I ain't got no money. So
well,
I'll talk to Mike.
Maybe you talk to him and let your pick be whatever he's gonna sponsor.
What's up, Mike?
See if we can get Brock Lesnar or somebody.
I mean, we do have another member of our broadcast team, so she's all part of that whole thing. So you've got a little stroke there.
No, you want me to go
Cheyenne Michaels.
I was about to say.
Yeah. I was confused. I got you. I was like, wait.
Wow. She's the newest member,
yes, Cheyenne.
She would love it too.
Yeah.
I think she's on our side for that.
Okay. Yeah. See who they could bring in for us.
You got a week. They can do it. They got money. They can do it.
I don't.
I
love the idea, but I'm like, where I got.
Yeah, no. You got pull. You know a few people.
You do.
You do.
You do.
We all know the same people. It's not like
no.
Not like I know more people than you guys do.
You've got access. But you've got people to choose from to do this specific task.
Yeah.
So
all I'm saying is, look, it could be an outsider. We've got plenty of guys on the roster that are in this match that could whoop up on some exotic youth. It doesn't matter.
True.
I don't care who it is. I just want everybody to get a piece of exotic youth. Is that too much to ask? Jeez, I'm just saying. Let's talk about who else was introduced as an entrant into this match.
That's a whole 15 minutes wasted.
I know. I told you, I said I wanted to rip the Band-Aid off and just get over with that. Took way too long.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyways, Nathan Mowry. We talked to the Killbilly last week right here on this podcast. Nathan Mowry will be in this match. GB, I don't know if you saw it, but dude said he was going to bring like all kinds of weapons. He said he's going to be cutting 39 other competitors. Making everybody bleed.
What is this? Slicing heads or busting skulls or
that's what this is going to be.
He had weapons. He had weapons like this
that he
crazy
showed us.
long serrated machete looking thing that he's been tapping people in the head with, breaking skin and breaking blood, breaking all kind of stuff. Dude is crazy. He's excited about this too.
Oh yeah, chomping at the bit.
If you think about it, every time he's appeared in the RumbleJack, his appearances have just escalated and escalated and escalated.
It's gonna be one of the books.
One year there was a door, with mouse traps on it. One year there was skewers.
Yep.
I remember a year where he had fire. Who knows what Nathan Mowry could do?
Last week we used the comparison of, so WWE has Kofi Kingston, and there was always some creative way that he would save himself from elimination. Well, we have Nathan Mowry, and there's always some insane thing that he does every RumbleJack. So what's it going to be this year? Who knows? There's no telling. He told us last week he's got all kinds of crazy ideas. Some of them he's pretty sure he's not going to be allowed to do, but you know what? Ask for forgiveness later or whatever. So we'll see what happens. There's only one way to find out what happens, and that's to be there live and come see it in person. Absolutely. But there's just no telling. There's a couple other guys we got videos from at the last show announcing their entrance into the RumbleJack. Darian Bankston was one of those. I'm excited to see him back.
Yeah.
It will be great to see him back. He's had a change of attitude, a change of heart, and this will be a great place to apply that. And who knows? I mean, this is the thing. I almost want to ask who we think are favorites to win this. But I think that the challenge, and we probably should get to that, but you know, with a Darian Bankston, he's almost an unknown in this kind of environment, and that makes him dangerous. Yeah. You know, some might think that that would be that will work against him, but I think that makes him dangerous because people can't properly scout him for something like this.
Yep. On that same token, we got another video the last show, Jaden Newman announcing his entry into the RumbleJack.
He's getting scarier and scarier, isn't he?
A little bit.
Yeah, it's like a I don't know. I don't know what's going on in him, but
that noise you did, yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, it is like that. Yeah.
Kind of creeping me out. I thought he was like a nice boy, but he's creepy.
And what he has done in other places makes him, to me, and I'm gonna say it, a favorite to win this thing.
Yeah.
You know, he's a favorite. He's been a champion in many other places, well respected, you know, and so he's a guy that you have to pay a lot of attention to. And he's also very cerebral at what he does. So he's coming in with a strategy. No matter what number he has, he can endure. You know, we've seen him do quite a bit. So I'm pegging him as a favorite, and he's somebody that people need to pay attention to.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be like in and out. I think it's.
Oh no.
He's got some things planned that nobody even knows about. I really think. I mean, he's just really gotten dark since the first time that we've seen him at SHW, and it's just. I don't know. He and Nathan might be like.
That could get very interesting.
Yeah, be interesting to see them face off in the match or team up. Who knows? Who knows?
Oh my God, they teamed up. It's going to be blood and guts and gore and whole horror movie out there.
You just never know. Well, some other guy or another guy that it'll be. He's not that unknown. Actually, he made his debut in SHW at last year's RumbleJack, and then we didn't see much of him until the last show when he qualified by defeating Sal Renaro. And that is Ben Buchanan's younger brother, Zach Buchanan. He will be returning to the RumbleJack. And if we know anything about his brother came in, made big waves by eliminating Judias a couple of years ago. And Zach, very much a very similar pedigree to his brother, and looked so impressive in that match against Sal Renaro a couple months ago.
I'm excited about him. I mean, he's like a tornado. He comes in hot. and it's just like craziness. I get Barry Windham feels with him. Am I off? Just kind of the Kendall Windham,
tall and lanky. I can
Barry
feel
Windham.
that.
Yeah, I kind of get that feel, and I don't know. I like him. I do.
You know, the RumbleJack is a place for, you know, obviously veterans, for people who SHW is very familiar with, but also for people who are brand new. You know, we
Mhm.
mentioned his brother, and to think that his brother eliminated the current SHW champion from the RumbleJack, and what he's been able to go on and do, you know. So it's, you can see some wild moments happen, and nothing is off the table here. And I think that because a lot of people might not be thinking about Zach Buchanan, that gives Zach an opportunity to swoop in and, can I say, have his own Zach attack?
Yeah, why not? You
Why
just did. You
not?
just did. You just did.
Why
Sure.
not? And who knows? He might be saved by the bell. So we'll find out everything next Friday.
Hey,
What
hey,
could
hey, what's
happen?
going on here?
Hey, see, that was your cue. Lobbed it to you.
Sorry.
There it is.
Let Diana do it.
Wait up.
Okay, let's talk about the end game. All right, we talked a little bit about the end game earlier because we were talking about the last man standing match for the Southern Honor Championship. Judias defending against Gunnar Miller. What we also know is that a couple of members of the end game, CT Keys and Nick Halen, both won their qualifier matches at the last show and will now be entrants into the RumbleJack. This is where we first heard Todd Sexton make reference to the fact
Mhm.
that these guys would go after the other titles in SHW, and then all of the end game would hold all of the gold in Southern Honor Wrestling. And what a nightmare that would be. I mean, good
Mm.
gracious. I mean, we already
Be a
went
whole
through.
another dishonor, wouldn't it?
I was gonna say we went through something similar with Dishonor, and that was a nightmare for like a year. So,
Mhm.
um, I'll just say, let's hope that doesn't happen, but it could happen. CT Keys, Nick Halen, both guys very formidable competitors, have both held championships in other places, both currently holding championships in other places, and could go on and win the RumbleJack and hold championships here in Southern Honor. What do we think about the end game here?
Well, I think GB talked about how it could be an advantage for Exotic Youth if they were able to stay together throughout the whole thing. But what if these two guys happen to be in there together, and
Yeah.
that's that's trouble.
Mhm.
That's just trouble. It's trouble. I mean, Endgame is not my favorite, but it's no denying that they're dominant.
Mhm.
And them together in a RumbleJack, I mean, left and right out. There you go. I mean, that's a problem. That'd be a problem. Yeah. I don't know what their
Yeah.
numbers would be, but that'd be a problem.
Yeah, I agree. I think both Nick Halen and CT Keys have done so much in SHW to help keep the end game dominant. I mean, think about this. We're talking about over 400 days with Judias holding the SHW championship, and that can be largely attributed to the end game. And so now you think that the end game isn't just in the RumbleJack to protect the interests of Judias, but they are there to possibly get their hands on other championships. And as dominant as they have been, the only thing that is keeping them from pure domination and total domination has been the fact that they don't have the other championships in SHW. That can change as a result of next Friday night. So, uh, in terms of dominant forces inside this RumbleJack, you could make the argument that CT Keys and Nick Halen could be the most dangerous two-man tandem in this RumbleJack. They have a lot they're fighting for. So this gets really interesting, and I'm very, very concerned because the what many might consider the nightmare of the end game may not be over anytime soon.
Well, we talk about dominant factions in Southern Honor Wrestling. Another team, all three members, or at least three of the members that we know of that got introduced into the RumbleJack. The Hierarchy, Joe Black, Murder One, the Kenway, all announced as entrants into the RumbleJack. And to both of your points, you talk about the other guys. Could they team up, double up on people? I mean, there's three guys right here. And not only that, we still are a little bit, you guys help me out here. Chip Day, at least briefly, appeared to have joined the Hierarchy.
Until
But
they
then
got hurt.
but then he wasn't able to be part of the War Chamber match.
Right.
Right.
And now it seems like he's solely focused on going after Judas, which he'll have to win the RumbleJack to go after Judas. Chip Day was also introduced as an entrant into the RumbleJack. So that's 4 guys right there. And that's I'll go ahead and say it. I mean, he had a jersey right at that one show.
Yeah.
So I believe Chip Day is he officially in the hierarchy as far as we know? Seems
As
like
far
it.
as I know.
Seems like it. So that's 4 members of the hierarchy right there. You talked about 2 members of Exotic Pukes. You talked about 2 members of the end game. Well, that's 4 members of the hierarchy. So again, it all kind of, we don't know. It all comes out. People come out random numbers, random intervals. I guess it all just kind of depends on when they come out, what number they come out in the RumbleJack match itself. So we'll see. But how we feel about the hierarchy just running roughshod through everybody in the RumbleJack?
Well, I think with the hierarchy, they're a unit, but they also individually have a goal. And if you go back to the interview that Cheyenne had with them after last show, Murder flat said, Joe, I mean, I want to win the title too. And, Joe, he wants his opportunity again because his reign was too short. We all know that. It was too short. I feel like he did not get a good opportunity to be our champion. He was an awesome champion when he was our champion. But I mean, it's like Murder even told, I think they were in the ring when he told him this, when they were doing their celebration. Murder told Joe, if I have opportunity to eliminate you so I could be, the #1 contender, I'm going to eliminate you. No hard feelings, fam, but, I want to be champ too. So that could be an issue. It could be an issue because, I don't know what Kenway's goals are. If he's going to be, I don't know. I know Chip would love a piece of Judas or Gunner. We know this. So, it could be an issue with the hierarchy, but at the same time, I feel like we've seen them other places. We've seen them other places where they have just destroyed anybody around them. And there's no question what they can do together. But when it comes down to who's going to be the one, that could be a problem.
GB, I could see the wheels were turning. What do you got for us?
Yeah, the wheels are turning because, call me crazy, but it didn't click until Diana just said that Chip Day and the Kenway together in the hierarchy, how's that gonna work? So there's that.
I have ideas.
Yeah, I mean, so
when they were feuding, we alluded to the fact, they have the history together.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
right.
But yeah, and then they feuded here in SHW, and we've never actually seen them really on the same page here.
Correct.
Until, you're right, until currently.
But it's the hierarchy, and they are members, they're family,
But as you alluded to, Murder One is willing to eliminate Joe Black. It would seem, we've already seen what Chip Day will do to become champion. So I don't know that the hierarchy is necessarily going into this with a singular goal, unlike what the end game is going in with. The end game knows we're here to protect Judas, and one of us is going to walk out of here with the championship opportunity. It's going to be challenging because I feel like, depending, of course, where the numbers fall, there could be an opportunity for the hierarchy, which I think, in fairness, the hierarchy will likely go after everybody else before they go after each other. As long as they remember that, then they can really be a force in this thing. I don't want to see their quest for gold end up creating damage, and I hope that doesn't happen. But with that said, there's a case for all of them to win this RumbleJack. Joe Black, a former RumbleJack winner, a guy who was able to take that and turn that into a championship opportunity and a championship victory for that matter. You've got Murder One, who I think would love the opportunity to call himself SHW champion for a lot of reasons. He'd also, I'm sure, love the opportunity for he and Joe Black to finally get that rematch for the SHW tag team titles that they were screwed out of. The
Absolutely.
Kenway would love the opportunity to become the Jake the Snake Legacy champion, something that he didn't do that well in. Matter of fact, he lost in the finals of that. So, he would love to right that proverbial wrong. And then there's Chip Day, who obviously laid the groundwork as the JTS Legacy champion, a former SHW tag champion. The only title in this company he has not held is the SHW championship. Could this be the way and the ticket for Chip Day to become the SHW champion? I'm going to say we could see a member of the hierarchy walk out as the winner of the RumbleJack.
I'm here for it.
Ooh, I'm getting chills just thinking about
So
it.
here for it.
Yeah,
It's
going to
gonna
be
be
great.
insane. There are so many unpredictable factors in this whole night. And again, like I said, we're only touching on almost not even half of the 40. So I think there's only been, I don't know, 17 or 18 that were officially announced. So we touched on this earlier. Talk about former tag team champion along with Chip Day, that being Kyle Matthews. Kyle Matthews will have a shot earlier in the night at the Jake the Snake Legacy Championship when he faces Hollywood Hunter James. Both Kyle Matthews and Hunter James working double duty. Both men will be in the RumbleJack as well. We kind of touched on that earlier. Both either one of them could potentially go on and be a double title holder, which would be nuts because we have not had anybody in the company ever hold more than one title at one time. So that could be crazy. You saw a video, I think I posted it. It was, again, either earlier this week or might have been last week, kind of touching on the history between Cody Fluffman and Alexander Lev. Okay, this feud goes back many months. Started out, if you watch the video I put together, started out, Lev's just minding Fluff's just minding his business, watching the show from the crowd. Lev, all this, Messiah and being faithful stuff, really going to the guy's head, calling out Fluffman, who's just minding his own business, sitting in the crowd, gets in his face. It fast forward, it turns into Fluffman, for some reason, bringing a pie, a big cream pie, to the show, because I don't think they sell that at the concession stand. I could be wrong.
He was hungry.
I could be wrong, but I don't think they do.
I mean, he was snacking on a Snicker or something.
Right. So
then he just happened to have a pie.
But I had a thought that, you know what, that pie might end up in somebody's face. And sure enough, it did, right into the face of Alexander Lev, costing him that match that night. Of course, Fluffman would go on to have his debut match against Lev, and then get screwed out of that. And then there was Lev's faithful started showing up. We had the Warden, we had Grayson. They all started showing up, interfering in matches involving Fluff. Fluff was in a JTS Legacy Championship match where Lev's faithful got involved and cost Fluffman the match. Fluff and Dave Stage had a tag team championship opportunity. Same thing happened. Lev and the faithful got involved, cost them the match there. Here's the thing. Both of these guys have been announced as entrants into the RumbleJack. Will their feud with each other get in the way of the ultimate goal, which is to go on and win the RumbleJack to become a #1 contender for an SHW title? So will it cause a distraction, or will the beef just be kind of more motivation for the ultimate goal to win the whole thing? And when you're a champion, there's nothing more Lev can say about Fluffman if he's champion.
Right.
I don't know. What do you guys think here? Will this feud kind of get in the way of the ultimate prize here in the RumbleJack?
I don't know if it's really going to get in the way. When you got to think about it, there's 40 different people, right? There can only be one. There can only be one #1 contender. But there's so much going on with all these guys that, feuds bubble over and aggression is taken out on people who wronged you. And maybe everybody in the RumbleJack, yeah, they'd like to be the #1 contender, but maybe some of those guys were just out there to have free reign to be able to beat the crap out of whoever it was that wronged them. And I'm not saying Fluff is not looking for a title, because he could totally be a champion. I love me some Fluffman. You guys know I love me some Fluffman. But if he were to take just this RumbleJack and just be able to just go buck wild and do whatever he wanted to Lev, who, let's just give a shout out to Lev for his official announcing of actually being an entrant this year. Good for you,
Oh, yes,
Lev.
yes,
Because
yes.
last year you were not an entrant. You were a punching bag on the way to the ring. I don't know. Whatever it was. He wanted to be so bad. He played a big part in it last year. But this year, yay, he's actually an entrant. But there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. And not everybody's going to be the number one contender at the end of the night. This is just going to be one of them things. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot going on. And I think Fluffman's going to get some revenge, and he's going to get Lev's going to see who he's working with. I believe he's going to see who he's working with when it comes to Fluffman. He's not just a steamroller. He's serious. Dude can go.
Yeah.
He can go.
And GB, real quick, before you give your thought here, I'm also curious, and it has not been announced, but Grayson and Warden were not announced as entrants into the RumbleJack. That's not to say they won't be.
We still have a week.
But we never saw official graphics for them, but we know Lev. So that's what I'm curious about. Lev has gotten used to having people watching his back, whether it's in his matches or anything involving Fluffman. So if there's no faithful to watch,
There's
Lev's
no
back,
disqualifications though. So who says they're not going to be there regardless?
well, that's a good point. That's a good point.
That's a great point.
But anyways, how are we feeling about this one, GB?
You know, it's interesting. I have a few thoughts, and I think one of these thoughts is, you know, if you're in high school and there's the guy who really likes the girl, this happens in college too. You like the girl so bad that you start taking courses that you're not even interested in just for an opportunity to get next to her. And there's a part of me that wonders, is Fluffman and Lev in the RumbleJack to get a shot at a championship or to finally get their hands on each other? And I do wonder if they are so laser focused on each other. After all, they have cost each other championships. I don't know that either of them can become a champion with the other one still in this company. So these two are going to have to figure out how to get their aggression out if either of them are going to progress to becoming a champion. And I'll tell you what, I'm sure they would love to say that they eliminated the other one from the RumbleJack en route to a potential championship opportunity. This again could come down to the numbers. It could come down to a point of them entering at completely different times when one is eliminated. And if that's the case, then they can have a laser focus on a championship opportunity. But if the two of them end up in a ring at any point in time, it's literally going to be the definition of on site.
Yeah. I agree.
It's going down.
So earlier I mentioned Zach Buchanan returning to the RumbleJack. He defeated Sauronaro a couple of months ago at the last show to earn a right to go into the RumbleJack. Well, we also found out that per Sal's SHW contract, that match was not necessarily a qualifying match for Sauronaro. He was already guaranteed a spot in the RumbleJack. And so it's official. Sauronaro is in this RumbleJack. We talked about some of these guys being some of the most unpredictable unknowns. If there's anybody that's unpredictable, it's Sauronaro. Every time this guy comes out to the ring for a match or for any reason, we always say, you know, I don't know if he's all there. There might be some screws loose. I really don't. It's just hard to figure out what's going on with Sauronaro. You know, he lost his tag team partner a while back. It seemed to be like a downward spiral. He was losing match after match. And, you know, where's his mindset? And again, I've said it before, I don't even want to get inside the head of Sauronaro to figure out the mindset because it seems like a pretty scary place to be. But we talked about unpredictability, the RumbleJack just being the most unpredictable show of the year every year. Well, here's Sauronaro, one of the most unpredictable competitors. And wouldn't that be something? The tenured veteran to go on to win the RumbleJack and get a shot at Still Here 6 at Championship Gold. I mean, it could happen. Stranger things have happened.
It could absolutely happen. It could and he has the ability to do that. He can pull that off. He has enough crazy and enough skill and talent to do it. I mean, I'm not counting out Sal, our pal. Love Sal. I mean, it'd be awesome if he did that. He's been on such a losing streak lately. To come up and win this, huge.
Yeah, it would be massive. This is one of those moments where it only takes one shot to change the world. And the losing streak that he has been on, the win at the RumbleJack would change everything. And so I think, yeah, that's something that's definitely, I'm imagining, on his radar, you know? And so the fact that he's in there and grandfathered in there, it's going to be interesting to watch for sure. You cannot rule out a veteran of his ilk. He could certainly figure out how to pull it off.
Absolutely. And we had a guy who impressed a lot of us at the last show in that Jake the Snake fatal four-way matchup. Not that he just impresses there. I mean, he's been impressing us for years. He's another veteran. I'm talking about the ugly duckling himself. Rob Killjoy is an official entrant in this year's RumbleJack. And we saw last month, or whatever, 2 months ago, the last show in that fatal four-way, with it being multiple people in the ring, all the chaos that was ensuing, how amazing he did in that kind of an environment.
Yeah.
And, you know, I remember thinking at the time could this be a little preview of what we might see in August at the RumbleJack? And so, you know, Killjoy has been making waves all over the place. He popped up at an AEW show the other night. And so he's been around for a long time. He knows all the tricks in the book.
Yeah.
And if there's anybody that could pull this off, he's another one. Like I mentioned, like Sal. But here's Rob Killjoy that could very well do the same thing and go on and win the whole thing and become a champion potentially at Still Here 6. How we feeling about the Mad Mallard?
I think he has 100% chance he can do well. There's no reason why he shouldn't do well. But scratching the RumbleJack just for a second, why have we not seen Sal versus Rob?
Oh.
Because, I mean, why have we not seen that? Because that would be amazing. That would be an amazing match. Now, Rob and Kyle were awesome.
Something tells me that both these guys have been around a long time. We have not seen them in SHW ring, but something tells me they have had a match before,
Surely they
right?
have, but not at SHW, and I want to see it.
We're just taking a right turn real quick away from this show for some
sorry.
Diana.
I'm sorry, but it just, when I get the vision, I'm sorry. Let me
let
make
it
my
out.
notes. Let me make my
There you
notes
go.
because I gotta. This is a match I want to see. So now we can go back to RumbleJack.
And perhaps there's a good chance that they might come head to head, face to face in the RumbleJack. You don't know.
Look, they could be an amazing tag team. I could see Sal being a duck. I could see Sal being a duck. I can't. And Rob's already got some of that crazy in him. So who knows? But either way, together, tag team, whatever. I need to see me some Rob and some Sal together just once. I just need to see how it's going to come out.
GB, you know, just like at every SHW show, we never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to show.
I'm making matches here. Come on.
I love it on this podcast. You never know what Diana might say, what ideas she might have.
No idea.
Look,
I love it.
You don't think about some of this stuff until you get down and you're like, it's in your face. You're like, oh my God, I've never seen that before. But that would be, all right, next month. RumbleJack.
GB, what do you think?
You know, this is going to be great. I think Rob Killjoy, his stock in the last year has risen so much in SHW. You know, he has literally gone from, you know, just kind of visiting us to kind of making SHW a home. He's been planning his roots. He's had some incredible matches. He's had amazing showings. I mean, I think, you know, of the highlight reel, that is him jumping from one set of top ropes to the other, that springboard leg drop that he's probably still feeling. You know, he's done some incredible things. He's made himself certainly a title contender. Not just his resume, but what he has done over the last 6 months in SHW. He is a guy who I would love to see walk out of RumbleJack as the #1 contender. He has put in his spots. I've called him the gatekeeper at SHW because everybody new is trying to go through him and they can't make it past him. So He's got a great opportunity, I think, and I'm pegging him as a favorite to potentially win this whole thing.
Wow. There you
I
go.
agree.
And that's just it. Any number, so many guys have what it takes to win the whole thing.
Yes.
It's just such an unpredictable thing. It's we always say in like in any other match, it's 3 seconds. 3 seconds is all it takes.
That's all it takes.
Same kind of thing in this one, except for just got to get him over the
Anybody
top
can
rope.
trip and fall out.
Yeah, you got to get to the final 2, and then it could be 3 seconds. It's all
Right.
it takes.
Right.
Once you get to the RumbleJack or the lumberjack part of the match, and again, it's 40 competitors, male or female. I mean, we've seen Danny Jordan in the past. We've seen Ravenna Vane in the past. We've seen Jazzy Yang in the past. So there's just no telling who could show up. We've seen legends show up. We've seen rookies show up. We've seen, I mean, there's just no telling. We've seen people that we thought were retired.
Hall of Famers.
Yeah, Hall of Famers. We've seen I remember Terry the Rocker Lawler, who was retired, who since that time when he came out of retirement, he hasn't gone back into retirement. Like he's been back ever since. So I mean, there's just no telling. Robert Gibson, as you mentioned, Hall of Famers coming in.
Yes.
I mean, it's gonna be insane. And again, all we touched on were the ones that were announced. There is like another full week left. We could potentially hear of another entrant. I don't know if we will, but we mentioned not even half. So that's a lot of unknowns, a lot of surprises, and there's just no telling. But it is one of our most exciting shows of the year. I've been chomping at the bit. We all have for the last 2 months for the RumbleJack. It's finally here. It's a week away, and we cannot wait for you guys to join us at the Action Building, 261 Marietta Road, Canton, Georgia, next Friday, August 9th. And again, don't forget, it was just announced earlier this week, there will be a pre-show match. So yes, doors open at 7, main bell time is at 8, but it's 7:30. So you want to arrive early at 7:30. There will be a pre-show match, which will also be a RumbleJack qualifier, kind of a last chance qualifier between Rosario Grillo and JD Inc. And again, 5 p.m. is when tickets go on sale at the door. Kids 10 and under are free as always. Spread the word. Invite all your friends. Let's blow the roof off of the Action Building and just pack the place out. It's going to be insane, guys. What more can we say?
Let's just recognize all the talent that is going to be coming in the doors. Not only every Southern Honor, but this night in particular, just the amount of oh my God, if you could bottle it, it'd be priceless.
Yeah.
But y'all don't even start. Y'all need to be there because you don't know who's going to be there. You don't know who's going to show up. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what kind of mess is going to go on. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to be screaming my head off. I know these guys are going to be tearing it up on commentary, and oh my gosh, let's just do this one more week. One more week.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly special. I know the Olympics are going on, and I know there's all kinds of things happening, but there's really no place in the world like the RumbleJack. Let's just face it. The things that you will see there, the surprises, the opportunities. I just hate ever being in a space where I said, oh, I'll catch it next time. And then they do something that the whole world is talking about, right?
Yep.
It happens like that all the time.
Yeah.
So you do not want to miss this show. It's going to be special. And I'll tell you this, if you love something, bring people. There's enough of us to go around, okay? You don't have to be stingy. Say, it's just my SHW. No, it's our wrestling. And so invite more people. Listen, it's a 40-person RumbleJack, the largest RumbleJack we've ever had. Why not have the largest crowd we've ever had? It's worth doing. It can happen. And again, you don't know who can walk through that door. You don't know what people's contract situations look like. And we're in a world where everything is different. I'm just telling you, you don't know who will. Oh, Lord. Listen, if that happens, Diane is done. Diane is done. So I'm just saying. And listen, do you remember it was a couple of months ago where randomly Tony Schiavone showed up? Randomly Britt Baker was hanging out. Like, you just don't know who's walking through the doors. And with the understanding that you could become a champion in SHW by winning this match. The element of surprise is a great, great way to win. It was a couple of years ago where a surprise entrant won the RumbleJack. It can happen again. We don't know who that's going to be. We have no clue who's coming through the door. So you'll want to be there for it. Next Friday night, there's probably not much you're doing anyway. So come out and join us. Let's have a party together and let's figure out who's walking away as the winner of the RumbleJack and where that could go as we officially kick off the road to Still Here 6.
I cannot believe it's almost 6 years. You know what I mean? Like we're almost at the anniversary, but we got to go through the RumbleJack first, and it's going to be amazing. And like you said, GB, even if you do have plans for next Friday, go ahead and just change them. Just cancel those plans because trust me, you're going to want to join us. And to your point, GB, you're not going to want to wake up Saturday morning and read about it online, about all the cool things that happen. You're going to want to witness it live and in person inside the Action Building. So again, 261 Marietta Road, Canton, Georgia. Oh, it's the 6th annual RumbleJack. It's our biggest show of the year. It's going to be incredible. And we can't wait to see you. We will be there live from 7 until, I don't know, maybe 7:25-ish with the pre-show live on Facebook. So
I'll skip out just a little bit early since I got to announce that first match.
That's the same. We got to skip out a little earlier than normal because we do have that pre-show match at 7:30. But you will see us live on Facebook starting at 7 p.m. And then hopefully, as GB likes to say, we see your face in the place at the Action Building for SHW RumbleJack live and in person. I can't wait. You guys, it's almost surreal that it's finally here because we've been going for 2 straight months of like, oh, when's it going to get here? When's it going to get here? Well, finally.
It's like I hadn't seen you guys all, well, I mean, I can't say I haven't seen you guys all summer, but I haven't been with you guys at SHW together all summer.
At home. That's what we're all going to get together at home. And I can't wait to see our SHW family, the SHW faithful. It's going to be incredible. We hope to see you next week. But until then, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling.
RumbleJack, baby!
What?